Hey folks, Nathan here from Star Wars Beyond the Films, the Star Wars Reports Rebels Roundtable, and the Star Wars Timeline Gold, which just put out a new edition at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline, bringing you all a look at some more Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars materials. We've got Star Wars, the X-Wing Miniatures game's newest expansion here, Rebel Aces. Now this is an odd one, because just like Imperial Aces, it's not one ship, and it's not part of a wave, it's kind of a standalone that has two ships in it. Ships we've already gotten, which are repainted, and packaged in with some new pilots and whatnot. In this case, it's an A-Wing and a B-Wing for the Rebel side. These are the ones that you get here. Now, for comparison, because these are repaints, I've put the original versions beside them. Bear in mind, only the repaints are included in the package, obviously. This is the original A-Wing. Nice looking, white with the red markings. The new one, more like those concept art pieces here, blue, the little red stripes there. Very nice looking. I actually prefer this look to the original red one. In the case of the B-Wing, this was the original, right? Not a whole lot of markings aside from those sort of red Japanese-style zeros that you got there, so to speak, the little circles. In this case now we have one that matches what we saw in Rebellion for that first round, supposedly, of B-Wings out in action. Dagger Squadron, that is. We got all of our nice red paints along with that cool little design up there on, for lack of a better term, the neck of the ship. So we get those. Let's get our ones that aren't from the set out of the way here. We have our pair of ships here, which of course means we need our maneuver dials for both A-Wing and B-Wing. Token-wise, we've got ID tokens 43, couple of evade tokens, 3 focus tokens, 7 shield tokens to make up all the ones needed for the set, a couple of stress tokens, and of course a proof of purchase. Then we get to our other tokens. Ship token-wise, we've got Gemmer Sloan, we'll see that in a minute, with prototype pilot on the back, Jake Farrell, with Green Squadron pilot on the back, so basically we're seeing 2 pilots come back that are generic and 2 that are new. Nara Dantels, as I drop it here, with Blue Squadron pilot on the back, and then Kian Farlander with, appropriately enough, Dagger Squadron pilot, because that's the color scheme they went with here. We have an escape pod for the mission inside the rule component. Here is your rule component, by the way. One of these fold-out ones has a new mission in it entitled Jump to Subspace. And now, on our target lock tokens, we're finally seeing something new. They've tended to have a lot of them. We've gone all the way through the alphabet at this point. Now we've got AA with BB on the back, and CC with DD on the back, so they can go all the way through the alphabet once again. But you're probably more interested in the cards. What upgrades and what pilots come with this? Well, card-wise, we start out, of course, with a reference card for boost action, because we've got that A-Wing in there. And then for new pilots, for the A-Wing, we have Jake Farrell, right, from Rebel Assault. Gemmer Sojan, which is kind of cool, because if I'm remembering right, this is Gemmer. We're talking from Planet of the Hoojibs / Pliff from the Marvel series, which is nice. And then our ones we've seen before. Green Squadron pilot and prototype pilot. That's the color scheme, of course, there that's being used with the actual A-Wing miniature here. Then for the B-Wings, we've got Kian Farlander, of course, from the X-Wing game. The X-Wing computer game, that is. Nara Dantels from Rebellion. Dagger Squadron pilot, which is that one coming back, and you can't really tell hardly at all looking at the image, but that's the color scheme being used, as I mentioned, for the actual miniature here. And then our other reuse is Blue Squadron pilot. As for our upgrade cards, we have ones that come basically in pairs or triples, with some few exceptions here. We have, for crew members, which is kind of cool, Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors, of course, both from the Dark Forces video game series. We then have enhanced scopes, 2 of those. A-Wing test pilot, 2 of those as well. Another pair, B-Wing / E2. Another pair of Proton rockets. And then one that we actually get 3 copies of, which is Chardan, refit here. So, 13 different upgrade cards here, plus 8 pilot cards, half of which are generics we've seen before, half of which are new, specific, unique pilots. And of course, all the goodies to go with it with these 2 ships. Personally, if I had to choose between either getting these 2 separately or Rebel Aces. I'd probably go with Rebel Aces just because these look pretty cool, and I like the pilots that come with them just in terms of their Star Wars Legends or EU reference existences. Plus, hey, you got Kyle and Jan as upgrade cards in the pack. But whichever you go with, these will make a nice addition to your arsenal, a fast and a heavy fighter here for the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game. We'll be back as more are released.